In the distant past, in a land called Uz, there lived a man named Job. A man of considerable wealth, he was well respected in his community, known for his righteousness and integrity. The setting of his tale is shrouded in the mists of antiquity. A place and time so far removed from our own, it's steeped in an air of mystery. This ancient backdrop sets the stage for the saga of Job, a man on the precipice of facing the greatest trial of his life. In a swift succession of terrible events, Job's world crumbled. His life, once marked by prosperity and peace, was quickly reduced to a series of calamities that would test the resolve of even the strongest among us. The first blow came when marauding Sabaeans, in a bold act of thievery, made off with Job's oxen and donkeys. His servants, charged with the care of these animals, met a violent end at the hands of these ruthless invaders. This was not just a loss of wealth, but a tragic loss of life. A blow to both Job's prosperity and his household. No sooner had this news been delivered than a second messenger arrived, bearing tidings of yet another disaster. Lightning from the heavens had struck Job's sheep and shepherds, reducing them to ashes. His wealth was further diminished, and more lives were tragically cut short. As if these losses weren't enough, a third messenger arrived with the most devastating news of all. A great wind had swept in from the desert, collapsing the house where Job's children were feasting. All 10 of them perished in the storm, leaving Job bereft of his beloved offspring. Despite these overwhelming tragedies, Job did not curse God. His faith remained unshaken, his devotion unwavering. He tore his robe, shaved his head, fell to the ground in grief, but he did not blame God for his heartrending losses. Amid his immense suffering, Job remained steadfast, refusing to blame God for his misfortunes. In his anguish, Job questioned the reason for his suffering. He found himself in a whirlwind of pain and loss, and his heart cried out for answers. His friends, well-meaning but misguided, suggested that his sufferings were a result of his own sins. But Job knew in his heart of hearts that he had lived a righteous life. In the midst of his trials and tribulations, Job turned to God, seeking understanding. He asked, "Why, God? Why must I suffer so?" He desired to comprehend the purpose behind his trials, the reason for his pain. It was a question that echoed in the silence of his heart, a question that seemed to hang in the air, unanswered. But God, in his infinite wisdom and boundless love, did respond. However, his response wasn't a simple answer. Instead, God revealed his sovereignty and wisdom. He reminded Job of the vastness of the universe, of the mysteries of life and creation that were far beyond human comprehension. He asked Job, "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand." Through God's response, Job was reminded of his limited understanding in the face of the divine. He realized that his perspective was but a tiny fragment of a much larger picture, a picture so grand and complex that it was beyond his comprehension. Job came to understand that he may not always understand God's ways, but that did not mean they were without purpose or meaning. In this profound realization, Job repented. He confessed, "I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted." He recognized his own limitations and humbly accepted that he may not understand the reasons behind his suffering. In humility, Job accepted that he may not understand everything, but trusted in God's wisdom. He understood that his journey was not about comprehending everything, but about trusting in the one who does. And in that trust, he found a peace that surpasses all understanding. After Job's trial, God restored his fortunes, even doubling his previous wealth. God's compassion and generosity were boundless. Job, once beleaguered, was now blessed with incredible prosperity. His livestock numbers swelled, his riches grew, and his lands flourished. But God's blessings did not stop at material wealth. Job was also blessed with a renewed family. He was gifted with 10 children, as many as he had lost. His daughters were known far and wide for their beauty, their names celebrated throughout the land. Job's life stretched on for many more years, filled with joy and contentment. He saw his offspring grow, he held his grandchildren, and he witnessed the cycle of life continue from one generation to the next. Job's story, a tale of suffering, faith and restoration, reminds us of the unfathomable wisdom of God. His journey from hardship to abundance serves as a beacon of hope, demonstrating God's enduring love and mercy.